Hi there kit fans, it's Louise with you today, and this is my final share for the month of February. It's been such a cracker of a kit this month, but I've said it in previous videos, I'm really enjoying my mixed media and my art journaling, so I am adding a little bit of touches of some art journaling and things into my scrapbook layout, so it's a little bit of a crossover at the moment. And we got the fabulous Vicky Booten stencils as part of the mixed media kit this month, so I wanted to use stencils and I wanted to use modeling paste, and that's about as far as it went. Now you can see that I'm having a little trouble with my modeling paste. It's really old and it started to dry out, so I did as much as I could with this background, and then that modeling paste went in the bin. So I had to get rid of it. It was old and hard and it was not salvageable. I've had it for a while, so it's time to let it go. I have now got some new modeling paste and I'm determined to use it before it gets hard and has to be thrown out. Now, because this kit is filled with so much prettiness, I really did struggle to find a photo. I got lots of photos of my boys, but I don't have too many on that sort of more pretty scoped photo. This is a really old photo. It's actually before my boys were born, and it's not how I would print my photos now, but it's been in my stash for so long. And when I thought about what was in this month's kit, you know, lots of florals and pretties and backgrounds and some pinks and purples and not lovely embellishments, I decided that I was going to scrap this photo. So this is coming together in terms of my background is dry and I'm now building a photo cluster. And really the only thing that I have decided on is that I want to put some color over that modeling paste. I haven't thought anything beyond that. This layout really does develop progressively as I'm working on it. So now that I've built my cluster, I'm just playing around. I'm thinking about what I want to do, how I want to embellish. I like to build my clusters before I put my mixed media in the background. Otherwise, I just don't know how to place things, and this is a personal preference. So it's one of those things where I just make sure that I know what elements are going to be on the page before I start adding color in the background, and I work to add that color in the background so that it shows behind my cluster. All right, so at this point, all I'm thinking is I've got my left hand photo cluster. I need to make a right hand photo cluster. I do prefer my embellishments in groups of 3. So for this layout, initially I'm thinking, okay, I need something else. I've got my photo, I've got my little right hand cluster. How am I going to bring this into that group of 3 so that it's more aesthetically pleasing? But as you see the layout develop, you'll see me start to add this background frame. You'll see the color come into it, and that's how I get my group of 3 and make it more pleasing to the eye. Now I do love a title that's easy to add to a page, so any words that are already cut out for me, like this one, Brighter Days, that's a win in my book. I'm not a huge fan of thickers. I mean, I love thickers, but I hate the fiddling of putting them on a page. So I love this Brighter Days title. It really works for this particular layout. I didn't even really know what color I had planned for this. It didn't start off with a colour in mind, so I got to build into my background. I did know that I wanted to use some of those little rainbows, so I fussy cut some of those. They almost don't make it on the page because I do forget about them as I'm getting so excited with my background layers, but definitely needed to add some colour. Now, as you can see in this video, I'm using Distress Crayon, and I try to activate it with water first, but it doesn't have the depth of color that I'm actually looking for. So I decided to go just right in with the crayon and smudge it with my finger. So you get this sort of two-tone effect because you're activating it against the paste, but you're also activating it onto the background paper as well. Now then you can add a little bit of water and that will activate it and change the color and spread the color around. The thing with distress crayons is that you sort of have to work pretty fast, otherwise they do tend to dry and then you can't manipulate them as you want to. So that's why you can see I'm only doing little sections at a time. Now, I was pretty happy with the color that I had in the background, but I let it dry and I came back to it and I actually wasn't happy with the color that I had in the background. So I end up using some acrylic paint and going over that background. Now, the acrylic paint is from a previous kit. It's one of the Lumieres, and it actually is got a bit of a shimmer to it. So you can see that I've just increased the intensity off camera by adding a bit of extra paint there as well. Now, at this point, I wanted something else in the background. I needed it to have something to anchor it. At the moment, it just looked like paint splattered on a background, and it didn't have sort of that depth that I wanted it to. And this little frame was a great way to do that. So you can see I've just marked out my frame with some pen, and then I'm rough doodling and adding a few lines and bits and pieces. And I just think that that joins that photo and that right hand cluster together and really brings the layout onto itself. So a couple of little splatters, which I had a bit of a trouble with. So you'll see me add some splatters. I didn't want too many splatters. I just wanted a little bit of extra black because I was now tying in that black frame. But I really do love how this came together, and I hope that there's some techniques in there that you can enjoy and scrap lift if you choose. You know, it could be the distress crayons, it could be that frame that anchors everything. Do what you love, and for me, I think this is one of my favorite layouts this month. So that's my final share. I hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit